Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube as we take a look at SEC best bets coming up for this Saturday. Kevin Rogers and Brian Edwards with you. And last week, Brian 3-1 in his best bets as he had Kentucky in the points against Georgia. Also, he had Texas A&M, easy winner over Missouri, as well as the under in the Ole Miss-Tennessee game. The only loser was the Texas A&M Missouri game, did not go over the total. But still, Brian off a 3-1 Saturday last week on this video. So 3 more selections this week. And Brian, let's begin with LSU as they face Ole Miss, the CBS game, 3:30 on Saturday. And LSU off the big win over the Gators. And Ole Miss, they held off Tennessee last week, and Lane Kiffin's return to Rocky Top. So your thoughts on this one with the Rebels laying 9 against the Tigers?
Well, I like Ole Miss a lot if Matt Corral is going to be good to go. Lane Kiffin said on Sunday that he was in pretty bad shape. He had gotten banged up, went down a couple of times, and he left for at least a play or two, at least once. But I'm hoping he'll be, better later in the week as we do this Wednesday. We don't really know. Maybe hold off on taking this pick until we have some clarity on Corral later in the week. But if he's ready to go at 10 or fewer, I like Ole Miss a lot. Right now, we can get it at -9, and I will go with the Rebels at home. LSU has struggled on the road, losing by double digits at UCLA and at Kentucky. They did win at Mississippi State. But I like the Rebels.
All right, so Brian on Ole Miss against LSU in an SEC West battle coming up on Saturday. And the second game, it's Alabama and Tennessee. And the Crimson Tide bouncing back nicely after their loss to Texas A&M. They beat up Mississippi State last week. And Tennessee, they lost to Mississippi last week, Brian, but they're still turning the corner with Josh Heupel. But I think you're going to be on the Alabama first half train again.
I am. And look, Tennessee is playing well, but they are really banged up. Hendon Hooker going down there really late in regulation with 30 or 40 seconds left. It did not look good. Now, Josh Heupel on Monday did say that he is day-to-day along with Tyon Evans, their star running back who missed last week's game, and Cade Mays, probably their best offensive lineman. All 3 of them are day-to-day. It did not look like a day-to-day injury the way Hooker went off the field. He wasn't putting any weight on his right leg, but, maybe Heupel's not playing coy, and maybe he will be okay. But I can't imagine him being 100%. And Hooker has been the catalyst in Tennessee playing well these last 3 weeks. But I'm suspecting he's not going to be able to play, and if he does, he's not going to be 100%. And even if he is 100%, that doesn't mean Alabama won't cover the first half. I see it at 14 right now, and I cannot turn that down. Alabama is 5-2 against the spread in the first half this year, but one of the non-covers, they were up 31-zip on Mercer, and that line was 38.5, so I kind of disregard that one. And then last year, 11-2 against the spread in the first half. So I like Alabama -14 in the first half, even if those guys are okay. But I suspect we're probably going to get Joe Milton. And if that is the case, I think Alabama probably smashes Tennessee this week. First half in the game.
Yeah, so Brian on Alabama against Tennessee in the first half, laying the 14. And for our final game, let's take a look at Texas A&M and South Carolina. The Aggies, they're playing well right now. They had a bit of a slump earlier in the season, but Jimbo Fisher's team back on track. So they take on South Carolina, the Gamecocks. They held off Vanderbilt last week. It wasn't pretty, but your thoughts on the Aggies and the Gamecocks in College Station coming up Saturday?
Well, South Carolina quarterback Luke Doty is going to have season-ending foot surgery. I don't, Zeb Nolan stays healthy. I don't know that that's a bad thing. Nolan was playing well. He was off to a 2-0 start, and then he got his hand stepped on in the Georgia game. Excuse me. And Doty's been the guy ever since. But Nolan, they were down 20-14. He rallies them on the game-winning drive, and so he's back in. at QB, and that's actually probably a good thing for South Carolina, assuming he can stay healthy. And now, if he gets hurt, they're in a world of trouble with absolutely zero experience behind him. But look, A&M is playing well, and I don't really want to lay the 21 for the game, but I think minus 11.5 in the first half will be in good shape. South Carolina's offense has been really pedestrian. They've got a pretty good defense in some games, but I mean, they gave up 40 plus to Georgia and Tennessee. So I like A&M minus 11.5 in the first half.
All right, so Brian on the Aggies in the first half against South Carolina. Let's recap Brian's 3 best bets for the SEC coming up this Saturday. Brian likes Ole Miss laying the 9 against LSU. Also Alabama laying 14 in the first half against Tennessee, and Texas A&M in the first half against South Carolina. Brian coming off a 3-1 week on the picks last week. Brian Edwards, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, K-Raj.
And before we head out of here, I want to tell you about WynnBET. And WynnBET, the mobile sports book app you could download on iOS or Android, a great deal now. If you're a new patron, you can get a $1,000 risk-free first bet with a $20 minimum first deposit and eligible sports bet when you use the promo code VIBonus. That means if you lose your first wager, you get it back up to $1,000 as a free bet credit that you can use for another bet. The WynnBET promo code will expire soon, so make sure to grab it while you can. That is the WynnBET mobile sports book. I am Kevin Rogers. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And as always, best of luck with your bets.